The wind whistled through the iron gates of the sprawling Beaumont estate as a frail-looking man in a faded gray uniform adjusted his cap and leaned heavily on his wooden cane. His shoes were scuffed, his hands calloused, and his posture spoke of years of hard labor. Few would have guessed that this man was Adrian Beaumont, the billionaire founder of one of the largest real estate empires in the country. That morning, however, Adrian was not a billionaire. He was merely a gatekeeper. And this disguise wasn't a game. It was a test that would determine his only son's future. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of true love, then please take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us spread more stories that touch the soul. Adrian had built his empire from nothing, starting with a single worn-out truck and a stubborn dream. His late wife, Miriam, had stood by him through every hardship, cheering him on through failures and illnesses until his small business became a dynasty. But her sudden passing left Adrian hollow inside, robbed of both his compass and his anchor. All that remained was his son, Lucas, a bright young man with a gentle heart. Adrian's one desire was to ensure that Lucas found a partner who truly loved him for who he was, not for the Beaumont fortune. And so, when Lucas announced his engagement to a beautiful woman named Celeste, Adrian's heart trembled with both joy and fear. Celeste came from a comfortable background, but nothing close to the Beaumont wealth. She was elegant, articulate, and seemed kind, but Adrian had seen too many smiles hide greed, too many polished words mask shallow hearts. He couldn't simply rely on appearances. The day had come when Celeste would visit the estate for the very first time to meet Adrian. But instead of greeting her in a silk suit and polished shoes, Adrian donned the dusty overalls of a gatekeeper. He instructed his staff to keep silent about his disguise, threatening to fire anyone who revealed the truth. This was his final secret test. Late that morning, a sleek black sedan rolled up the driveway. The sun gleamed on its polished surface, and Adrian braced himself as the car slowed near the gates. The back door opened, and Celeste stepped out. She was in her mid-20s, with long chestnut hair tied into a graceful ponytail, wearing a cream blouse tucked into a navy skirt. Her heels clicked against the gravel as she approached the gate, her eyes scanning the weathered old man who stood watch. Adrian deliberately let the moment stretch, pretending to fumble with the lock. He wanted to see how she would react to inconvenience, to imperfection, to someone beneath her social class. He hunched his shoulders, his voice raspy as he murmured, "Sorry, miss, this gate's a little stiff. You'll have to wait." Celeste didn't roll her eyes. She didn't sigh or snap her fingers. Instead, she bent slightly, her brows furrowed with genuine concern. "Are you all right? Do you need help?" she asked softly. Without waiting for his reply, she gently took hold of the heavy iron latch and pushed with him until the gate creaked open. Adrian's heart skipped. It wasn't the reaction he expected, but he kept silent. Celeste smiled at him warmly, brushing the dust off her palms. "Thank you for looking after this place," she said. "It's beautiful." And then she reached into her handbag and pulled out a small water bottle, offering it to him. "You look like you've been standing in the sun a long time. Please take this." For the first time in years, Adrian felt tears threaten to break his disguise, but he held them back. The test wasn't over. Over the next few hours, Adrian watched quietly as Celeste toured the estate with Lucas. He trailed in the background, trimming hedges and sweeping leaves, always in sight but never acknowledged as anything more than the old gatekeeper. He saw the way Celeste laughed with Lucas, the way she marveled at the family portraits, and the way her expression softened when she noticed a framed photo of Miriam in the main hall. Celeste touched the glass gently, whispering, "She must have been incredible." Lucas's eyes had filled with tears as he nodded, and Adrian had to turn away quickly, his chest aching. But the real turning point came later that afternoon. Lucas had been called away for a business matter, leaving Celeste alone in the garden. Adrian approached with his rake, moving slowly, deliberately, to test her once again. He accidentally dropped the rake, bending down with apparent difficulty to retrieve it. Celeste rushed over, kneeling beside him. "Please, let me," she said, lifting the tool with ease. She looked into his lined face, her expression soft. "I hope they're not making you work too hard here. A place this grand shouldn't be built on someone else's pain." That sentence pierced Adrian deeper than any dagger could. He had built his fortune with sweat and sacrifice, but he often wondered if the empire had cost too much. His health, his wife, his peace. Hearing her speak those words made him see Miriam's compassion reflected in Celeste's eyes. And then came the moment that broke him entirely. A sudden rainstorm swept over the estate, drenching everything in minutes. Adrian, pretending to struggle with his limp, tried to cover a stack of tools with a tarp. The rain plastered his uniform to his thin frame, his cap slipping off. Celeste, who had been sheltered beneath the veranda, rushed out into the downpour without hesitation. She grabbed the other side of the tarp, pulling it with him until the tools were safe. Soaked to the bone, she laughed breathlessly, water streaming down her cheeks. "There," she said. "No one should have to do this alone." Adrian's throat tightened, his vision blurred. This wasn't a woman who cared about wealth. This wasn't a woman seeking status. This was someone who understood dignity, who saw worth where others saw weakness. That evening, Lucas returned, and the household gathered for dinner. Adrian had shed his disguise, exchanging the tattered uniform for a tailored black suit. As he entered the dining hall, Lucas stood proudly. "Celeste," he said with a smile, "this is my father, Adrian Beaumont." Celeste froze, her eyes widening in shock as she realized the truth. The billionaire standing before her was the same frail gatekeeper she had helped. Color rose to her cheeks as she whispered, "It was you." Adrian's eyes shimmered. His voice broke as he said, "Yes, my dear, it was me. I had to know who you really were, if your love for my son was true, or if it was for the name Beaumont." He paused, his hand trembling slightly as he reached for her. "What you showed me today, your kindness, your humility, your heart, you have given me back faith I thought I lost when Miriam died. You've reminded me what love looks like." But tears spilled down Celeste's cheeks as she lowered her gaze. "I don't care about the money, sir. I care about Lucas. I care about the family I hope to be part of. And if helping a stranger in need was your test, I would do it 1,000 times over, not knowing who you were." The dining hall was silent, the only sound the quiet patter of rain outside. Adrian stepped forward, pulling her into a gentle embrace. "Welcome to our family," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You have my blessing." The rest of the night passed in laughter, stories, and tears. Adrian felt Miriam's presence in the room, as though she too had smiled upon Celeste. For the first time in years, his heart felt whole. Dear viewers, if this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs faith in humanity, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your engagement allows us to continue telling stories that heal, inspire, and remind the world that kindness still exists. And before we end, please leave a comment below. Do you believe true love can be tested and proven through kindness? We'd love to hear your thoughts. As the night drew to a close, Adrian looked at his son and future daughter-in-law, his chest swelling with pride and peace. The billionaire who once feared loneliness now knew he would never walk alone again. And it wasn't wealth that secured his family's future. It was kindness.